first thing we need to do is have our leaders take the temperature down. We're not expecting to see that from President Trump. Unfortunately, he has more than anyone given the permission structure for this reality.
I feel like Trump has really popped the lid off the rhetoric and the sense of hate and violence and promoted this type of an environment.
Here we go again.
Does any of this seem familiar to you? Right now, I have no idea what the true political affiliations are of the terrorist psycho who targeted those two Democrat lawmakers. But CNN and the Democrats are wasting no time in putting the blame squarely on Republicans and Donald Trump.
They always do.
While this is expected, it doesn't make it any less embolism-inducing because, as we all know, the Democrats and media never blame their own rhetoric anytime there's violence against Republicans or Donald Trump. Because, as we all know, it's different when the Democrats do it.
I think the first thing we need to do is have our leaders take the temperature down. We're not expecting to see that from President Trump. Unfortunately, he has more than anyone given the permission structure for this reality.
That's not entirely accurate.
Let me just chime in here to say, give me a break. The Democrats and their media have been inciting violence against Republicans and Donald Trump for going on 8 years now. And the difference is, Democrat and media rhetoric is given legitimacy because it comes from our institution. And nut jobs are much more likely to take actions like we've seen in the past, such as the assassination attempt on Brett Kavanaugh. But they always somehow have an excuse for why it's different.
What we've seen in the last week in Los Angeles, sparked by a kind of state violence, by ICE being extremely aggressive.
You see, it's different when Democrats got violent in LA because they will always have a carved out exception to their own standards for themselves. This is the same excuse they always use for their violence, that they were somehow provoked. But this excuse only works one direction.
I feel like Trump has really popped the lid off the rhetoric and the sense of hate and violence and promoted this type of an environment.
Don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
We are going to fight it, and we're going to fight it in the streets.
You always have to be careful whether you see a burned car or a broken window or whatever it is. It may be the exuberance of the moment.
There are but two parties in America right now: patriots and traitors.
We have seen increased threats across the country. You're probably familiar with the pizza threats. We've seen more of that.
A human. And what was really disheartening to me, 1 in 5 adults believe Americans have to resort to violence to get their country back on track.
Besides marching and protesting, what else do you suggest?
Well, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not a miraculous, what did you say? Murder.
I wrote a great book called The Pelican Brief,
Yeah.
in which 2 Supreme Court justices were assassinated.
I know.
Yes.
And I thought about doing it again. And
No. I'm not going to pull my punches here. You know, you always say, oh, we got to come down on the rhetoric, stop doing it, and then you don't.
Now, this really pisses me off to no end.
Okay, so we're now in the middle of another standards change, and the Republicans and Donald Trump are being blamed for inciting this attack on those Democrat lawmakers. But of course, like I pointed out, the Democrats and media never blame their rhetoric anytime there's violence against Republicans. Like in 2017, when a Democrat Bernie supporter shot at Republican congressmen while screaming, "This is for healthcare," and the media blew it off as either both sides or actually blaming Donald Trump's rhetoric.
How Steve Scalise survived, how he is recovering, but emotionally speaking, it does sound like all of you still carry a lot of scars from that day. Do you think that the press is the greatest enemy of the U.S.?
Well, I'm a conservative and I'm a Republican. Certainly the news media, particularly at the national level, is a challenge for us who hold conservative beliefs.
Sure, but the greatest
are they
enemy,
a threat to the national security of the United States?
Would you ever call CNN an enemy?
No.
I mean, even recently, the media scoffed at any suggestion that the Democrats' rhetoric or their rhetoric had anything to do with inciting multiple assassination attempts on Donald Trump. All right, folks, let me know what you think in the comments, and if you're still here, might as well hit that like button and subscribe. I do post on a regular basis, although I will say it hasn't been as consistent as I'd like it to be. What can I say? It's hard being a stay-at-home dad with 4 kids during the summer. But like I always say, make sure to keep checking back for more because I do post on a regular basis, both long and short form. Thanks a lot.